So turns out overpromising in this case was a good thing. But how good a thing? How confident are you that Netflix can continue to cut its losses?
I think it's going to be difficult. They have a lot of battles to contend with. But I think when you look at the stock and the reaction, what a difference, a quarter or two makes. We're seeing a big shift in the tone of the market. I mean, this Netflix was a company that only traded on subscriber growth. What's the sub number? What's the sub number? That's pretty much was the singular metric that people looked at. Now you had a decline in subs and a downward guidance to the third quarter subs and the third quarter downward outlook. In the stock's up 7%. So there's clearly a shift in sentiment and a reprioritization of what the relevant metrics are. And it's increasingly looking like it's going to be monetization over the absolute number of subs.
So here's the question. The markets took a turn in part because of Netflix's big loss in subscribers 3 months ago, which was totally unprecedented. Do you think that this shift in sentiment will buoy markets through earnings over the next 6 weeks?
Near term, yeah, absolutely. I think there's the sentiment has become so bad and the bar is so low that you are going to see some level of relief. Obviously, we're not out of the woods as it relates to inflation, what the Fed's going to do, but I do think that these companies have come down way too much. And I think that what you're going to be seeing is an increasing appreciation for mean reversion in the growth rates. And what I mean by that is that, these companies pulled forward so much demand during COVID. And then you had this growth drop off the last couple of quarters where it looked like, is this a structural change in the growth rates where demand is actually slowing? Or is this a mean reversion where we're just going to revert back to the original growth curve? And I think what investors are starting to increasingly appreciate is that we're just coming back to the original growth curve and that these companies can and will grow the way that we thought before COVID. And in some cases, like Amazon, like Microsoft, like Apple, potentially even better than they were before COVID. And as far as Netflix is concerned, this is still a company, the advertising is not easy. And you're contending with juggernauts like Amazon, like Facebook, like Google. And you think about the level of differentiation you have as a service versus them in order to targeting capabilities and whatnot. It's not that much. We put Netflix in the bucket of old media, and it likely should be valued as such.
Interesting. So if the streaming wars are turning into an ad war, who wins? Obviously there's Netflix, there's HBO and Disney Plus that are also experimenting with advertisers. And then on the other side, you've got Facebook and Google, which has been doing this for a really long time, and Snap.
Yeah, I think that the big guys, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google will continue to command great share because of the fact that they are platforms which provide great stickiness for their customers and great targeting capabilities from the data that they collect. But I do think that it can become increasingly fragmented as other outlets explore their advertising capabilities in order to better monetize their businesses. But ultimately, we see the likes of Amazon gaining a disproportionate share and Netflix having to contend with everybody else. And when you think about the data that they have, how is it much more differentiated than what a linear television station has?